Hello everyone. Check this out. It's crazy, ain't it? Crazy stuff. Anyway, I wanted to talk about a specific show that I was a part of. This was my first solo show that I wanted to talk about. So, if you're interested in my music, you know what I mean, you can have some background. I'll talk about some of my shows today. I think my first show ever was with Acid 87 at State Street Pub in October of 2024. Or 2023, I mean. 2023, because I played more shows in 2024. But anyway, we'll start with my first one. I was really anxious. I remember just kind of getting into the headspace. The first Acid 87 show was like, it was with Satan's God, Night Riders in the Sky. Well, it was Jordan's project. Jordan was someone else. And Heath was on that gig too. But I missed that gig after the show because, like, back then I was a little more, weird about my, I was weirder about my time. I didn't really have much open. I was working at the time, and, like, something came up. I remember, it's just, like, something came up, and I had to go, like, pretty quick. It sucked, because, like, I wanted to see all those people. That's when I first started coming out, really, and meeting everybody. Because I remember my first few times before I got a car, I'd come out there, and I'd just kind of, like, hang out, and I didn't know anybody. And, like, everyone was just doing their own thing. But then, eventually, I got to know everybody. Everybody's really cool. And, like, I've stayed for far more shows because, like, I'm not a flake, I promise. I'm here to have a good time. And I want to actually shout out to Mark Tester for such a great venue. And everybody who's, like, ever really hosted or, like, done anything. I've hosted stuff there, too. It's kind of fun. Anyway, after that gig, I think I had something early. I want to say it was early 2024. I actually have it right here. And it is, the first month, so January 18th of 2024. And then October was the first one, I believe. October 8th, 2023. And I have a pretty good quality recording of that one, which is really nice. I got to sit there with what's his face? God, I'm so bad with names. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to, like, forget a good friend's name, but I'd actually have to, like, look. I think it's Austin. Austin is the guy. So, he's really cool. He did a set. He was, like, talking about, like, Marquis de Sade and stuff, and, like, it was really cool. He was talking before set about, the things he does as an individual. He teaches school. He's a school teacher. Really cool guy. He's one of my favorites. But he only comes, every now and then. So anyway, we have the first solo gig, really. And I probably did, like, one or two afterwards. But for this solo gig, it was live at State Street Pub. This one I got prepared for. Because, like, the first set I've ever done, I'll be real with you, I wasn't prepared for it at all. Because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't ask anybody. If you're going to do a set, by the way, and, like, you have an electronic set, buy a table. You know what I mean? That's important. Buy, like, extension cords. Make sure you have every cable. Make sure everything is perfect. But at least have a table. I usually take a chair. I like sitting down when I'm doing my art because it's just all, like, I like to kind of feel it out. I don't like to stand around. I'm not, like, into the whole, like, presentation of it. I'm here, and I'm just, like, I'm vibing. People watch me, and it's just like, it's just like that doesn't really scratch the itch that I'm doing. It's not like a performance. It's really just like a curation. But the first show I did, all of those tracks, I have them up on the Scum Alice Bandcamp, which is like the everything that's, like, not an album. This one came from Ghosts of an Old World, which is a project I've had for a long time. probably since I moved to Indiana, but like I never really messed with it. It was really inspired by like Roz Williams and like my early stuff without getting too early, about it. Anyway, this stuff was like all like YouTube videos and stuff. It was like Def Industrial. I have some anonymous releases somewhere. I forget where they are, but like they're just really post-industrial and they're very ambient and like they're very, metallic. And this was kind of like the third entry of it that I wanted to have for myself. The other two, they're long gone, buddy. This one, yeah, I had like a bunch of tracks, and I just curated a playlist, and I just pretty much messed with the knobs of the sound and stuff to try to keep like an even curation with like some distortion. The heavy metal distortion, I think, was the main one I was using through a laptop. Just, the main thing was done already. I didn't want to like do it live. I just wanted to mess with like the sounds live. And what ended up happening on stage, Mark kind of like picked up on the bassier resonance, and he like really highlighted that. The only issue with that, I love what he did. I loved working with it. I was just getting so disoriented by the bass. So I'm sitting there like I'm tweaking the bass, I'm kind of turning it down, and I'm seeing what's going on. I didn't know he was like really bringing the bass through. But I'm sitting there messing with the sounds, I'm kind of like in my head, I'm a little anxious. I just hear people talking and stuff, and I'm just like, I'm anxious about that. Like, I don't want people to think what I'm doing is like stupid or something. You know what I mean? And they're like getting louder in the back, and like, it's anxiety. I don't care now. Like, I get what I have to do, and I understand, like, it's not a performance, right? Like, it's my music. It's for the background. I kind of prefer it when people kind of just, like, continue on. Like, it's like listening to music or something. But, yeah, no, it's just all, like, I was very disoriented by the bass in the show. I played the entire set. I didn't really play it. I did a curation, and, like, this was before the soundboards, too, so I don't have the soundboard recording, sadly. But, yeah, no, it was fun. It was fun. And then, when the show finished, when it was finalized, what ended up happening was I ran off stage, and I confused Mark. He's all like, well, you gotta clean up your stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna take a little, step away from the stage. I didn't really elaborate too much until like later, that it was just like I was super disoriented. I was like, I felt like I was about to fall over. I was like so disoriented by all the bass that just happened. You know what I mean? Like, no disrespect, but it was intense. I'm trying to get this into a cool little spot. I don't think I can. That's kind of cool, ain't it? I want to say, too, for the first show, I did neglect to say that, when I did the first show, I was, like, running around looking for percussion instruments. Like, I got a hammer, a coffee tin that I had. I dumped out the coffee tin at my gas station that I worked at, and I got the hammer, and I bought a bunch of nails. And, like, I used that for it. And then I made a new project with that, with, like, a continuation onto the idea of the first project. It was called Expenditure, End of Existence. It's just, like, a continuation. I want to see. I don't have any of the Boring Walking video stuff up. That's kind of like a flash in the pan kind of thing. Like, we all go out and we all have fun. You know what I mean? It's cool. And I think I did that for 2024. I just got like a few Boring Walking videos. And Boring Walking videos is cool. It's like a collaborative effort. I feel like I did guitar on most of those. Let me just say, the first one I did, it might have been percussive, or it might have been vocal. God, I don't even remember. I'd have to watch a video for it, and I don't even have the videos with me. But the videos would probably tell you what I was doing and stuff if you're interested. I really don't think there's anything too crazy about those, but I kind of want to see the order everything was going. So let's see if I can get this camera over here. Okay. Let's switch accounts. I'm gonna tell you from like the everything, and I'm gonna tell you some like cool insights. I don't know how to turn this computer down though, so we'll just have to hope it doesn't play. So yes, that can't be right. Yeah, it's not right. I hope that didn't just mess up something. Sorry. Oh, yes. I was doing vocals, I believe. It's kind of cool. This was November. That's a little late. I guess I wasn't too active. Okay, so let's just skip to the Halloween show. I was invited to do a Halloween show in Irvington. And this was actually probably one of my favorite stories of the bunch. This was my second solo show, I remember, because, you know what I mean? This was live at Spooky Fest. This was October 26th of 2024. This was a fun one. We got out there. We were watching Benjamin Franklin, play his music. Me and my buddy Jesse, my good friend Jesse. Around the time I was like playing with the idea that like I can revive Putrid Object for a little bit, which I ended up releasing an actual album of Putrid Object. I've been wanting to do that for so long, like actually write music and like do stuff. It doesn't seem like it's written, but there's structure to it and there's like writings to it. So, we went out there and we're like hanging out with everybody. I'm hanging out with Eternal Husk, that project, that guy, Nicholas, I believe his name is, and his wife, and his good friend. I don't remember his good friend's name. But, we're all, like, out here. God, I have to, like, start it from the beginning, actually. We can't just skip to when I'm there. That's not fun. I was driving through Irvington in Halloween traffic when there's like an entire event in Irvington for Halloween. Buddy, there was no parking. I had to park, I'd say a few miles away. I parked at a church just on the outside of Irvington, and I walked to Irvington through all the streets. It was a long walk, very, very long walk. I think I walked from 52 to the central Irvington. Anyway. So, I had stuff. I don't think I had an amp at the time, but I had a guitar, I had a backpack, I don't think I had a table. I might have just had my chair, because I think they had a table. Or I might have had a table, who knows? I might have carried a table as well, but I definitely carried a chair and a guitar, and it wasn't very fun. I'm going to tell you that much real quick. It wasn't very fun. I was walking through crowds of people, and it got thicker as you went in. I also saw furries, and I only saw 2 furries. But it was very odd. The energy of these furries was a little different than regular furries, if you know what I mean. I just all like just walking by a bunch of people, and like people were kind of curious about what I was doing, so I had like a big guitar. And what I ended up doing was I was walking through this crowd of people who were outside of this venue, this concert kind of looking deal, you know what I mean? Like, it was so funny. These guys on stage, they're looking out, and as soon as I enter the crowd and I'm walking past them, they're all like, "Is there any musicians in the crowd?" And I'm looking dead forward. I'm looking like at my feet. I'm looking straight ahead of me. And I'm just like, don't say anything. Don't say anything. Like, please don't point me out. Please don't point me out. I'm not a musician, and I'm about to go do an experimental show down the street. Like, and I'm already running late, by the way. I told everyone in chat, I'm like, hey guys, I'm running late. I'm going to be there ASAP, though. I'm going to be as quick as possible, as soon as possible. My minimal setup, you know what I mean? Like, I'm walking. It's minimal. I'm carrying a lot, but it was minimal. I get to the place. Yeah, because I walked past like a bunch of concerts, and like I'm just like super paranoid. There's like cops and stuff, and it's just all like, oh my god, I'm out here in a crowd of people just carrying like a bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's a little anxiety. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to be like the person carrying stuff, and just like don't think I'm a weirdo. I'm going to do a gig, and I'm also not a musician. I don't play any instrument. I took lots of classes for instruments, and I did fairly well in classes for instruments. I took band classes. I tell this to people. I took guitar classes, keyboard, piano classes. I played trombone. I played trumpet in bands. I've done gigs as a kid, like I've actually went places and played music, in a crowd of people. Like, if you want to know my first gigs ever, they're not recorded because they were terrible. But I did play, I feel like my first one I ever did was a trombone, and I walked a long way. Anyway, for this gig, we finally got to the place. I walked past it at first, but, I saw some people. I saw Benjamin Franklin on a skateboard, and he was, like, hanging out. I walked past the place, but I walked back, and I'm just like, okay. So, the first show that went on, I think, was Benjamin Franklin. He really set the mood for the silly, the fun. I really enjoyed his set. It was really good. I told him that. I don't think he paid too much mind to me, but, he was in and out, and it was pretty cool. I believe somebody else played before me. I want to say two people did. So I was like chilling inside with my buddy Jesse, and we were watching some movies. I think we were watching like Cronenberg's The Fly, and then we started watching a Nosferatu by Werner Herzog. And we're just talking about like movies and stuff. Jesse's a really good friend, and he ended up buying me food and like waiting in a bunch of lines for me, and like I really appreciate that. He wasn't like in a rush to do a bunch of stuff, and like at one point when we were waiting in line, this was later on after I played, but I just want to say this. As soon as he gets up to the line, they close the whole thing down. They're like, we're closing up the street. You gotta, this place has to go. It's time to go. And, that really upset everybody, including Jesse, who's next up, which seems like if you're with me, that's going to be your luck. If you're next in line, that's the time they're going to close. That's happened to me a lot, growing up. But he got pierogies for us from a German stand. He knew the owner. He knew a lot of people out there. The dude's, he knows people. And I love that about Jesse. He's a very good artist. Love his music. Big fan of him. His friends are cool. And, Chatterbox Inn. If you're in Indianapolis, go to the Chatterbox Inn. They are so good. The music, it's immaculate. It's so sophisticated. It's so vibey. It's probably my favorite music that I'd check out every day if I could. That would probably be the place that you'd find me at. But I like the weirdos and stuff, and I like to hang out with like whatever. But the Chatterbox Inn is a proper dive. Like State Street Pub is a proper dive. But Chatterbox Inn is like a proper dive as well. So, like, they got in some heat because a conservative came in and they were all like, you gotta fuck off, you gotta go. Some agent of chaos who wanted a quick social media story. She humiliated herself, and a bunch of people came together as a community in support of the Chatterbox Inn, which you should. much love to the community in Indianapolis, State Street Pub, Chatterbox Inn. You guys are immaculate. So I want to tell you about my show. Now that we got everything else out of the way, I'm just thinking of little details that I remember. They commented on my guitar when I walked in the whatever. I stepped on the painting. I think we all stepped on the painting that they're doing for the Spooky Fest. You can see it in the pictures. There's a big Spooky Fest sign, and that Spooky Fest sign, she was painting as I came in, and I stepped on it. My friend stepped on it. I think Jesse stepped on it. Somebody else stepped on it. So like everyone's just stepping on the sign as they're walking in the house. I guess I was the last one to do it because I didn't see anyone else do it, but they told me, like, oh yeah, I stepped on the sign too. No one told me that, but they were like, oh, you got the Starcaster? Like, yeah. My mom bought it for me when I was, like, in high school. Like, I was supposed to learn it, but I never did. And this guitar actually has a lot of history too, so if you want to know the quick and easy of it, my mom gave it away because I didn't use it when I was in high school. And when I got out of high school, I got in contact with them and they gave it back because, I wanted to use it for my art. So probably around 2017, I got it back and I started using it. That's why there's guitar in my music after a certain time. We got my stuff all set up. Jesse hooked me up with a looper. I figured out how to use it, and that looper that he hooked me up with, because I couldn't find mine, actually inspired me to go and buy a new looper from a local music store, and they're really cool. They've set me up with other equipment I use for gigs. This looper was really nice. It's what I wanted. So I went out there, and I played all these tracks from just random Future Object releases, that I remembered, because, like, again, the lyrics are kind of burned in my head. I listen to these songs a lot. There's 2 versions of My Ruins, Retracted, Why Not, Kidney Stone to a Weapon. I wasn't really, like, super vocally, like, performing in this one. I was, like, kind of under my breath, just kind of getting the bass out, but, like, getting a lot of, like, guitar stuff in, and, like, I'd say you guys can hear it in the show. I had hecklers, actually, and it was kind of funny. Like, at first I'm just sitting here, I'm doing my thing, and I have a really minimal setup, dude. No one's gonna come and try to check out what I'm doing. Like, I feel like I'm up there with the other ambient acts if people just want to listen to ambient. Like, when it comes to Indianapolis, I'd say that, at least as an ambient artist, I'm pretty firm and strong in my ambience. It's not technical, but it's like, it's atmospheric, it's rich, it's dense, it's whatever, so I think pretty highly. But, like, I think people weren't taking me seriously because I didn't have this crazy setup or anything, or I wasn't using these, like, instruments. Everyone else had instruments, but I'm just sitting here with a guitar, a looper, like 2 pedals. And, like, I'm just sitting here, and I'm having fun. It sounds good. Everything's perfect. It's an outdoor set, you know what I mean? But I did get hecklers. I thought it was my friends at the venue at first. That was the first time I met them. I didn't know if they were just, like, silly guys, but the hecklers were, like, saying stuff. They're kind of, like, imitating Beavis and Butthead, and they're like, play some Zombie, play some Rob Zombie. And, like, you know what I mean? It's funny. It's like what you want to happen. It's like totally camp for, a cool little Halloween gig. I love it, I think at first I was just scared that these guys were going to, like, rush me or some shit and, like, be all like, whatever. I have, like, 20 minutes for my show and I don't want to be attacked during it. Like, that's it. But when I realized they weren't going to do me harm, I kind of, like, evened out a little bit more. But the anxiety of just, like, the idea of somebody, like, hating my shit so much that they're going to attack me over it, that's a little scary. But if you guys were the guys who said, play some Zombie, I appreciate you for participating. I don't I don't hold any negativity towards like hecklers. I mean, everyone's going to respond differently, and like the chillest thing would be either like heckle me or just like chill out and like do something else, because like honestly, I just want to curate some energy. So yeah, no, it's just like I try to tell that to everybody. It's just all like, it's a public event. A lot of people were walking by. I was like right in public, and we just had our speakers pointed towards the street as people were walking by. And I don't think like a single person like stopped to be all like, this is some good music. Except for the people who were there, who told me later, like, it was like Midwestern like excellence. Like, we had the sun shining behind the house, and like the desolate energy, and like the music, that it was just like bassy and wavy, you know, and just all like, it was pretty good, you know, just like, I love that. There was another gig. Oh yeah, no, I wanted to say one thing. There's a picture of me at the Spooky Fest, and they wrote an article about it. They didn't like write about my music or anything. They didn't write about me specifically, but I was in the picture because like I was a performer, and like they wanted all the performers and stuff in the picture. So we took a few serious pictures. You know, we took some good ones where I'm just like sitting there and we're like, you know, we're actually like zoned in. And like, I think after the photography, you know, when everything kind of goes quiet and we all kind of start like moving a little bit and like getting a little loose with it, I didn't know they were still taking pictures. So this dude takes a picture, and it ends up being like the worst picture of me I've ever seen. Just another funny thing from this gig. I love this gig. It was so much fun, and like I had so much fun with it. It was so perfect. But like there's just some silly stuff that went on, and one of these silly things was just all like this awkward picture of me like looking down, because like I'm sitting here and I'm looking away from the camera. You know, I'm looking like, I think it was like this, and I'm like kind of like just talking and relaxing with this person, and like with the angle, everything, I just looked so terrible. I was talking to Taylor, Heath's girlfriend, and like we're just talking about random stuff and about how the show is going and stuff, and like you know what I mean? Like, you got me. You had to use that picture. But much love. It's okay. I had a fun time. It was a really good experience. Overall, you know, it was just fun. Walking back to the car wasn't that fun. I ended up, I want to just finish off the night real quick. I drove back. I heard in town, and, you know, people were all like, you know, I saw you. I'm just all like, I'm glad. I think they saw me driving, actually. I don't think anyone, like, mentioned me. I did see a friend, and, like, they missed my set, and, like, it's one of those, like, regulars, like, that I knew, who was, like, kind of cool, really nice. I really hope she's, like, doing well now. I remember she was going through some stuff at the time, but, like, really hope you're doing well. I never kept in contact, sadly. But, you know what I mean? She's got her own thing. She's, like, you know, got family drama and stuff, and she's got to figure some stuff out and, like, you know, ground herself. I really hope she's doing well. Got back. I'm, you know, at the gas station. I'm just like, you know, I just played a really good show. I'm really happy. I'm really excited, you know, and, like, I'm just kind of, like, you know, having a really fun time. It was a really nice one. I didn't mind the walking. Totally cool on walking. Really fun, you know. It's just all, like, it was a good day. Ended up going back to the venue, and what ended up happening was I got to see Reed play. Reed, really good friend. I love Reed. The dude was playing Elvis Costello with Jesse and George. No, that was afterwards. He was playing something else. But Elvis Costello definitely got played that night, and Jordan was singing on it, and Jesse was playing. Jesse also played at Spooky Fest, which was really good, and a lot of people canceled on Spooky Fest, but we still had a lot of cool people playing. And, like, also I think I missed some stuff, because, like, no, I don't think so. It was, like, a lot of time in between. So, what next? All the boring walking videos ones was kind of just like show up, do whatever you want, like have some fun. I want to say the Critterdin was the best one. I really liked the Critterdin. It was fun. The percussion was a little much, I'll be real with you, but like everything in between was really good. But like for a set, I guess with percussion, it's like it kind of sets the direction a little bit. I had my speaker. I think I just bought the speaker at my local music store. I'm just all like, hey, what's a like small to mid speaker for like a small house, because this is like a little small house gig. I bought it. I went out. And, like, he's doing this, like, Plunderphonics, samples. He has a bunch on his phone loaded, and they're all slowed down and sped up. And, like, it's really, really good. You can really hear it. The bass is, like, shaking the house. This dude always does the most with his bass. And, like, I think he would do really well as a solo artist. What's your face? One second. Let me see. Yeah, Matthew has the big bass, and Susan was like doing the singing, and I forget who was on the drums. I don't really talk to her, but she was cool. She was cool. I don't know. I don't want to. Whatever. I was doing like a bunch of layers of guitar and just like whatever. I think the sound check sounded the best because it was just like all of us just messing around, and like I did keep the sound check and the recording because it was just too good not to. And then the drums came in, and like the drums were a little much. I know like somebody's got to do percussion as soon as, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have drums, you have to, like, have some percussion looping and stuff. And, yeah, I think the second one, I went to Bloomington, Indiana. And this is actually probably the third one. We went to Bloomington for the first time, and I was really confused about everything. It was probably best for me to drive myself, because they ended up getting into a car accident. And that pretty much just like, you know what I mean? It kind of soured that. But me and Will still played. Me and Will came out. We figured everything out. We got all our stuff. We put it on stage. We played with Drekka. I love Drekka. I saw him with Boy Dirt Car, Darren Brown. Classic. He opened for Premature Ejaculation back in the day in San Francisco. I'd say probably in the early 80s. Maybe 82. I don't know. So, Drekka came on stage with us, and we were, like, just in our element. I have my bag, which is, like, what I use for some of these, like, more percussive, encounters when I'm doing percussive. I have like metal and stuff I mess with, and like I loop it, and like I put delay and reverb on it. A lot of this delay and reverb is just all like, it sounds good. It sounds really good. And like Bloomington was fun. The first time I had some, I want to say this was the time that I got some chili. Some vegan chili, I think it was. It was something like that. Vegan cheese or something. And whatever. I don't know. I like different kinds of protein. I'm not a vegan, but like I like protein. So I hope no one hates me for that. It was a fun one. It was great. It was immaculate. It was probably one of the best shows we've done as Boring Walking Videos, in my opinion. Up there with the Critterdin show, just because like we got everybody, we got the coolest people hanging out at the Critterdin. I love those guys so much. I've only been a few times. One with my buddy Cliff. Much love to Cliff. So I did the Critterdin. We're talking about Bloomington. I met this guy. He's really cool. He was watching over a record shop. He works there. I believe he works there. He's got some hookups. He's got the craziest selection of music from all over the world. A lot of Jamaican stuff, a lot of dub, a lot of stuff from Ghana, a lot of stuff from, I don't remember where else. Because I remember the Ghana stuff, the High Life stuff, you know. Ethiopian stuff for sure. I've seen a few good Ethiopian stuff. Not many, but he says if you want Ethiopian stuff, I can have the guy special order it for you, but it's going to cost a lot of money. Because Ethiopian stuff is a little crazier to come by, but he can come by it. If you know the right people to ask, you can get some stuff. You know what I mean? And I love that. I love that. I think I was like walking around like right before everything closed, and like think Buddy and the bookstore was like, hey, we're gonna close soon, you know, just to let you know. So I'm kind of just like scoping out everything. I didn't really see anything I liked in the bookstore, but I did see this collection of zines that were really beautiful. I think it was called something like Dream Shore or something. I don't remember. I have pictures of it somewhere, but you know, I love seeing all this stuff. It was great. There's even industrial stuff at the whatever, like Pedestrian Deposit. I don't know if you guys remember that stuff, but like that was like noise back in the day. Like when I was like first starting out, I was like, I really want to do a split with these guys. I want to do a collab with these guys, but I think they disappeared sometime, you know, after that. So all my friends' cassettes and stuff, it was funny. Because everyone who goes through there gives the guy cassettes. And I definitely gave him some of my cassettes. Drove home. It was really nice. I do want to say one thing that was kind of funny. I was driving on the left side of the road, you know, kind of tired. Not like falling asleep tired, but like I wasn't paying attention. I was kind of just like, you know, just exhausted, mentally exhausted because of the long day that I just had. I'm driving on the left side of the road on a highway, and there's nobody around, so I'm just all like, who cares? So I just realized, you know, I looked behind, and there's a guy, and, you know, in a Jeep or something. He's just all like, I don't remember if he went around me on the side or if I pulled over, but, like, it was kind of embarrassing, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't expect that. I wasn't paying attention. I think I just got to a point where I was just going like the speed limit, you know what I mean? So I didn't mean to hold up traffic. So if he'll never see this and he'll never know, but I felt bad about it. I actually did because I wasn't paying attention. What else? I mean, I had another experience at the same venue that was like totally opposite. It wasn't the best time. It was a little more manic and high stress and a little more high energy. And I was far more broke at the time, and all the stores were closed. Like, we got there too late to really see anything. We parked really far away. There was, like, no parking. We were just in and just... We didn't get the chance to, like, really feel it out. The music, it was good, but it wasn't, like, you know what I mean, bringing me in. I don't know, I felt really bad. This was, like, the time that I'm like, I'm never playing this venue again. Respectfully. Just like how everything went wrong the second time, I just don't ever want to drive to Bloomington again for a show. It's, like, way too far away. And, you know what I mean? Just hate being that person, but I'm just never doing that again. On top of everything, my equipment didn't work. There was no sound for me. I played the entire show with no sound. I just had to pretend like I was doing something. So if you were there and you watched it, and there were people who recorded it, and like, there are recordings of it because the regulars record the shows, which is cool as hell. Regulars will come out there and they will record every single show. That's how we got the Drekka show. I also recorded it on my phone to give it to my friend. But having video was really cool, so I really value the community for that. But I'm going to be real with you. I think that was like really when I was like, I gotta step away from this. I want to say that was the last Boring Walking video show as well, because I canceled other shows. I feel like that was the night. It was too much. It was way too much. Holy shit. It got so much worse. It was bad, dude. That was like such a terrible night for me. But I was just all like, I'm not playing a show at all. And I think that was the last show I played. Except for this. I don't even remember this one. Like, I don't remember that one, but this one I had to do. It was the Violet Housewife's birthday party, and they wanted me to play. A bunch of people came out. I just did a quick 20-minute set. I mean, regardless, if you get me for a set, by the way, I want to tell you this right now. I'm not playing longer than 20 minutes. That's just how I do it. I think... I don't know, I've probably played longer sets with Boring Walking videos, but it definitely gets thin after 20 minutes. I'm not doing a longer than 20-minute show. It's 20 minutes or nothing. I just want a sampler. I want a taste. I want people to be like, okay, I see what you're doing. Or, like, just have enough fun with it and let the next band play. I don't like sitting for extended periods of time. I've been to so many shows, and the best ones are always the shortest ones. Because it's just all like, you want a taste, you don't want to be drowning in it. You know what I mean? I don't know how else to explain it. So, what else? Let's get to the Violet Housewives. This one was just a chill set. I just went out there and I did what I had to do. The only thing is the first, I'd say like third of it, maybe the first like 10, no, it'd be like 5 minutes or something. I don't remember how long, but you will hear feedback, you know, and like eventually it will just like cut off and like I'll just do something completely different. But the feedback was because I was trying to run reverb in this venue, and the PA system isn't really set up for like reverb and stuff. You start adding distortion to your voice and the microphone, the sounds in the room will catch that. And I'm sitting here, I'm all like, it's right in my ears. It's really loud. I tried to do it like a few times, and like I got a few good vocals out, but like I think it really like, you know, it was like, don't even try. It's not even worth it. When like I heard like somebody right in front of me, like they were kind of like, ugh, like it was kind of like a pained grunt, and they were just all like, you know, I'm just like, I don't want to do this to you guys, especially you people who are right here close to the stage. I don't think it, like, caught as far back. People were like, oh, I thought that was just a part of the show. I thought you were just doing that, like, intentionally. So, no, it wasn't intentional, and I feel really, like, I'm glad it worked in that kind of sense, but it wasn't intentional. I didn't think that far ahead to think that I was, like, going to be playing with, like, feedback sounds. So eventually I just kind of did like the guitar thing. I essentially just played it like I was going to do vocals for it, and I kept like, you know, changing it up, but layering it a lot, and also just like playing like random, you know, but like in a way that felt thoughtful. And, you know, Mark loved the guy, loved his opinion. To this day, I remember him saying, like, oh, yeah, it was, like, really desert-oriented. And, like, you know, that's kind of what I do. I like a lot of desert stuff. So, it was fun. People enjoyed it. That was the first time I played for some of Janelle's friends who are actually, like, openly supportive of my art in the scene, which I love. You know, Sarah, much love, you know, to Sarah, the photographer in Indy, who does a lot of stuff for a lot of great artists. She's a big supporter, and, like, I appreciate that energy greatly. And, like, you know, this music stuff means so much to me. And it's just all, like, this is, like, what I feel like I gotta do. And, like, this stuff comes to me in dreams and stuff. So, like, ooh, it's crazy. Yeah, no, I could tell you little, like, weird stuff, but, you know, it's whatever. I've done like 3 solo shows from what I'm looking at here. 3, which was the first State Street, the third State Street, and Irvington, the Putrid Object gig, which eventually inspired me to do a Putrid Object album. And it was a really good album. I really enjoyed it. It was like that melancholic, kind of like creepy. And I want to tell you a little story about the album after that, and that's it. I'm gonna stop there. So I got really sick at one point, and I was really, really sick. And I felt awful. I felt genuinely terrible. So what I did was I recorded an album. So I remember I did something like that when I was like a long time ago. I felt really sick and I recorded an album and I felt really good afterwards. Same thing happened with this one, and it was really recently. It was January of 2025, so it was this year. I mean, it was called Beneath the Surface. And I had a stuffy nose, my throat was killing me, my head was just like so light, and like I felt so gross the entire time. But like as the songs went on, it felt better and better. It was therapeutic, and recording this album was kind of just all like medicine for me. So if you go listen to Beneath the Surface, I was really sick at the time, and yeah, I just wanted to record some music because I wanted to feel better, and this made me feel better. I know a lot of people probably don't think too much of it because it's 8 songs, and they're all very short songs, but like when you're sick, it's just like you don't want to push it, and like for one session, 8 songs is pretty good. It's just one short little session. It's not like a bunch of sessions broken up. I like 20-track albums that are really short. Like a 30-minute album that's 20 tracks is like perfect for me. But for this one, I was just really sick and I wanted to capture lightning in a bottle. So that's why I have this little EP called Beneath the Surface. And the cover's inspired by a good friend, Cameron, in the local scene. We were like talking about music and stuff, and he was like, what you really should do is like you should put yourself on the cover, because like you have a presence that you want to like reflect in your music. And like I was like, yeah, that's actually really brilliant. What you would want to do is like have some whatever. So I did a bunch of photography around the time, just trying to get some albums. I think one of those albums turned into Towers Collapsing something on Neo Noise Collective. It's a really good one with Todd. Previously of Coffin Worm. I'm just gonna name drop that since it's so late into the video. If you're watching this, you genuinely care. But I have a split with Todd of Coffin Worm. So it's pretty cool. Like, I kind of slept on that one for a while because, like, I was also, like, doing the existential thing that, like, you know what I mean? It was Scum Alice to Radiance House after that point, and I was just all like, I recorded these under Scum Alice, they're going to be released under Scum Alice, but they have to be released at the time they have to be. But all of that is a story for another day. 50 minutes of me talking about my live shows that I've done. You can watch most of them in playlists. If not, you can listen to some of them. I think I've published like all the videos I have of them. There's not like full videos of everything, but there's full recordings of just about everything, I think. If some of them are really terrible, some of them you had to be there for. Like the one I started with, the State Street pub solo gig with the Ghosts of an Old World industrial tracks with the bass. The bass definitely ruins the recording, and on top of that, I'm pretty sure my phone camera was the wrong way around, so it's whatever. Doesn't sound too great, but a few of the tracks you can at least make out what's happening. And there's also an album called, Sinking Feeling, that at least has the original tracks. So, yeah. I don't think there's anything else. Oh, there's one last gig I wanted to talk about. It was the second Acid 87 gig, I believe. Yes, because this was with Flatliner, Cliff. Good friend of mine. I love Cliff. It was with Guitars of Middle Western USA, which is Jordan. I love Jordan. Jordan's a great guy. He's got a lot of integrity. He's a good friend, and he loves his people. Boring Walking Videos. I couldn't play with him this time because I played with Acid 87 again because they really want to see me, and we're good friends, and we just did a zine together. I did an interview with them, and I edited the interview. I might not be, the best one, but they helped me edit it. So I was doing a lot of editing, and we got the transcripts out, and we had to rewrite everything, and we had to take out a lot of the ums because I say a lot. If you didn't realize that, or if you didn't notice that, I'm sorry. Anyway, we just did a zine together. We did the interview. The interview turned out really well. I was really happy with it. We did the first half, I think, or maybe it was the first, maybe third of it. There's a lot more to it, and we probably have to go back through it to do more editing, but the first one turned out really good, and it was about Austin and his sort of folk presence, which inspires me a lot, because I do the ethereal thing, and I want to carry a folk kind of presence about myself. So we did that. I ended up bringing the Korg Volca beats, and I ended up playing that, and I was just kind of pressing buttons on time as much as I possibly could. I'm not good with keeping rhythm or whatever, but in between the songs, I carried a lot of heavy bassy kicks and just samples and stuff, and it was all whatever. I looked pretty silly, sitting there on stage, in the corner just pressing a button. But again, I don't play any instruments, and I don't do the stage presence thing, and I never want to be the center of attention or impress people. I'd rather just impress people on a crazier, more personal level. So anyway, I'm sitting there doing that. I'm getting photos and stuff. I got some really good photos of myself in that one. Susan was taking photos of me. I ended up recording their gig because I didn't know somebody else was recording it, but halfway through recording it, I noticed they kind of looked at me what are you doing? I'm just I'm just thinking to myself, I just want to record this gig because it's a really good gig. Oh, yeah, that was a good one. It turned out really well. I hung out with my good friend Chuck. Good close friend, Blood Noise. I invited him to my house and had him stay the night because he didn't have a place to crash. And I'm just buddy, if you need a place to crash, I got you. I think I was so tired by the time he got to my house that I hung out with him for probably 10 minutes. And this was the time I still had my roommate. So, he's just watching movies on the couch. He likes to watch movies with the sound up. So, he wasn't really loud about it, but, he wanted to pay attention to the movies he was watching. Anyway, my roommate, I don't know if he wakes up at one point in the night, or if he just, wakes up early to go to work, and he finds a stranger sleeping on the couch. This dude doesn't know anything about my friends or what I do. He doesn't even know that I make art or whatever. It's just all yeah, I just was a little scared. Some random person. I ended up giving my buddy $20 for some breakfast, hey, just go buy some breakfast or something, you're good, you've been such a good friend to me, and this dude's printing my cassettes and stuff, cassettes that, really important to me. I also want to talk about, I actually have another gig that I wanted to mention. We used to have these October October things. It was like Grind Fest or something. Halloween Fest. It was curated by Will of Boring Walking Videos. And the first time I think I played with Boring Walking Videos, I feel like we didn't have any percussion. Yeah, that had to be the night. So, God, that was a tough one. That was a weird one. There's probably recordings of me, but, like, the only people who were recording me, I think, was a good buddy in the scene that I really don't want to be on his bad side, because he scares me quite a bit. Genuinely scares me. He's a cool guy, but, you know what I mean? It's just all, like, no disrespect to him, but, like, I don't want to be on his bad side. It was a pretty tough event, and stuff had to get moved, and people were, like, unhappy, and he was playing that night. That might have not been the night that I even played. I think I just, like, watched that night. But, yeah, no, I didn't play that night. But there was one time when the Boring Walking Videos came on. I have the poster for it, but I think this is possibly the second one. I don't even remember. I'd really have to, like, dig down deep into it, but I remember we just didn't have percussion, and, like, I did whatever I did because I didn't plan for that. And I don't think that anyone was really happy with it because, like, there's just no, like, rhythm. And rhythm is really important to some of these guys. I always thought of ourselves as, like, a throbbing gristle, like a kind of warped throbbing gristle for Boring Walking Videos with, like, weird plunderphonics and stuff. It was very contemporary. It was very anarcho. We performed with an anarchist flag behind us at, like, our last gig, which, you know what I mean? I'm not necessarily, like, an anarchist, but I am a leftist, so I do believe in some of the anarchist values, and I think they're really good with community and stuff. There's not really much else I can say. That's probably all the shows I remember, even going back to, like, my first shows ever. I talked about my middle school shows of being in bands. I was a band kid. I'm not a band kid, but I was a band kid, you know. I played the band. And so if you're ever curious about my first shows ever, they're long gone. I probably just played, like, on Wisconsin, and I walked in the snow, and, you know, it was a difficult one, but, you know, you probably don't want to see a bunch of, like, middle schoolers playing fight songs in the streets. You know, probably walking up and down near a local elementary school and walking around Battle Creek, Michigan. That was the first place I've ever played live, but it wasn't an actual show. It was a school-related thing. So funny. You want to hear my first ever show? It wasn't actually a show. I think my first ever experience, whatever, it was just got stage fright when I was, like, really young. You know the Christmas shows you do in elementary school? I think, like, I've seen a lot of videos of those, like, online. Like, I think it's, like, a pretty common thing. Because, like, if people are posting that and it's just, like, getting really popular, it's gotta be, whatever, pretty significant. But it was with the Maracas. We get on stage, you know, everyone's, like, there, our whole family, and they're all like, we're so excited for this Christmas show. And I'm just all like, I can't do it. You know, I was like a kid, and I was just like, I had stage fright, and I'm like, I can't do it. Nowadays, I just get on stage and do it. I don't care. But I was too scared to shake a maraca in a crowd of, you know, children. You know, I'm just all like, who was going to look at me other than my family? You know what I mean? We're all just whatever. But I never did anything. I was never like a kid that went on stage. It's just like, the first time I've ever went on stage in front of people, I was just like, I'm just going to do it. And very surreal the first time, but after that, it was just all like, okay, this is just something else. And, like, that's why I don't get super in my head about it. And I kind of get frustrated when people are a little too loud talking. I'm just all like, buddy, I have the stage, but it's cool. It's I don't get frustrated now because it's just all like, that's just a part of the experience I want to curate. Much love to everybody who watched it to this part. I hope that I don't sound like too much of an unreliable narrator. I really like to keep the music stuff as streamlined as possible. I like to add the most nuance of information. I don't like to add extra stuff. But, God, I might actually tell you about another story real quick. This is the stuff that never got published, and I don't even know if I have it. I wish I did. If I can find it, I'll publish it. I have live recordings of me going to a gas station and making noise. In an empty gas station at night, but my friend was like, I got him in the synthesizers, and like, I was showing him like, okay, so let's get all my stuff in here. Let's get a little speaker. This is like my little room speaker. And let's just play noise over it while like no one's in here. And yeah, I have recordings of just me doing like whatever, and like field recordings and like weird stuff, and like trying to capture like sounds and stuff. Like the back room, I was all like, no one's gonna come in here. It's nighttime, and I just want to like do a little like gig, which I probably have here somewhere. I mean, it's got to be in my voice memos. It would be. Couldn't have been this one. Might have been it. No. I don't remember. God, I want to find it though real quick. This is it. Got some noise recordings from a gas station. Beautiful. I did that for about 7 minutes. I'll release it sometime. I got a little extra track and probably some noise stuff too around this time. God, this might not have been that. I have no clue. This could have even been from when I went to Arkansas. No, I wanted to talk about the live stuff. No, I recorded definitely a lot of live music, like pretty much straight to my phone in the gas station, and I also recorded an album at a gas station. So that got me some likes on Instagram. Believe it or not, I recorded a full album, or close to a full album as possible for me. At a gas station, but that's not live. You know what I mean? I just did editing, and I like just recorded field recordings, and it sounded pretty cool. That's the story for another day. I'll focus on it then. This is strictly live stuff, and I've probably like around 10 shows, and I'm gonna do some more soon. So keep an eye out. Thank you so much.